like an opportunity to just review and give a status report on that process. Ms. Lamont is going to... you're good here.
Thank you, Dr. Wallace. As requested by the Board of Education and as a result of administration's due diligence in budgeting for the 2008-2009 school year, the design of the strategic plan continues. Each task force chair was required to submit costs for each strategic work priority in their goal area over a 4-year period. These costs will be considered in the budgeting process. Administration will work with the superintendent to prioritize items. If work priority costs are not initially calculated in the building discretionary budgets or the school improvement budgets, then those items will be considered above threshold and presented to the board along with other above threshold items considered by each school. After board approval, dates for the completion of work priorities may need to be revised or even some work priorities eliminated. Next, the superintendent expects to designate district staff that will be responsible for the detailed design and implementation oversight of each strategic work priority. The progress will be reported to the board annually.
Thank you, Ms. Lamont. Is there any other business deemed necessary to come before the... I'm sorry, Mr. Davis.
I assume we're able to comment on that presentation.
You may, but I have some comments to come up later regarding that.
You what?
I have some information to share later during board member comment.
Would you like me to wait?
Why don't I just tell you now?
I don't care anything about when. I might as, it seems like I ought to say in response to this. I was on the agenda. I therefore read it. My mistake. But this strategic plan, the way it's being done, it's not, the board is not involved. I mean, we're being presented. Customarily, you'd have a retreat, and you'd take some of these ideas, and the board would, this is not coming from the board in any respect whatsoever. There's no board member that I know of that's been on any of the committees. Maybe you were on one. Weren't you? Yeah, it says you were.
Kidding?
I think it says you were. I tried to go to a couple of them, but you know, it was not that easy to get. I started to get the notices of when the committees met, as I asked for them. But this is, to my way of thinking, this is coming at us in a way where a guy like me is simply overwhelmed with somebody else's thinking. This has nothing to do with me. I don't think it has anything to do with any board member. I think it's a good digest of considerations, but there's very little priority. I think she mentioned it's going to occur by way of budget, which is fine. But the fact remains, I think 75% of these items are supposed to be handled between 2008 and 2012. So that's pretty expansive time frame. I don't know if that's a mistake, but some of the items are for next year. So at the very least, I think the board should take items scheduled for next year at some sort of a session where we are dedicated to that, and some of, you know, could be open for people to attend, and those that didn't want to attend don't have to show up. But this has to be done as a board concept. In the end, it's a strategic plan. So I would ask that we make this a, somebody mention my name?
Mr. Davis, the point I was going to make was to ask everyone before they left tonight to get their calendars out. I plan to schedule a retreat for July to go through this.
But we're not going to have a strategic plan then until after July. which is okay.
We're going to have a discussion about it. We're going to talk about prioritizing. We're going to talk about various
Good,
issues.
thank you.
And we're going to bring something forward.
I know the superintendent evaluation comes up, I think, sometime in June. In June, and I think the strategic plan and some of the concepts involved in that are, I think, linked to the evaluation. Are we going to? I see you shaking your head. Are we going? So, I would think it would be advantageous to have maybe some type of review of the strategic plan before the evaluation.
I haven't seen the evaluation document, Mr. Ford, so I don't know that the strategic plan is going to be part of it. I haven't seen the documents yet that we're going to use for the evaluation. Now, people between now and whenever the evaluation date is, if anyone has a Saturday they'd like to get together and do that, we can certainly do that, because it would have to be on a Saturday, because we'd have to take a full day in it, or we could be here in the evening, everybody bring their sleeping bag. So if we got a Saturday that's available, this isn't something we can sit and talk about in 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 2 hours. Okay? The document is something that even if we just take what's out there for the next school year, it's going to take some considerable time to do that. So I'm not opposed to that. I'm just letting people know that that's probably going to have to be the timetable. So we certainly can do that. I will solicit dates. So let you know now. Excuse me, people send me dates, tomorrow that you would like to use July. Let's try it for maybe the first week of July. Or short of that, any Saturday in May or June, if someone has some other time available where we could devote and be prepared to spend a few hours to work on it. So I'll take those dates, and we'll see what we can come up with. Ms. Cornish.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you would remind me, I don't recall what the procedure was for the board to determine what the document was. Is that how does that process work? Because with Dr. Banks, that was determined in personnel?
Personnel committee.
Okay, so if board members want to add to whatever that discussion is, they would just have to attend the personnel committee meeting so that they can add their 2 cents in on whatever the document will be? Is that what you're saying?
I think what we should do then, perhaps Ms. Rogers can put that on the agenda for the next board meeting. We'll have the document that we just used, okay, and see if we want to add, subtract, delete from that. Dr. Wallace, the administration, is also involved in the preparation of that document as well, so that's fine.
Thank you. When I go through the strategic plan, I see that one of the items that says it's goal 1, and I think that's directly linked to the evaluation of the superintendent. And I would like for us to all try to look at a date that would be prior to the evaluation. That's because I look at this plan and it talks about the things the superintendent, the goals that he has for the district, and I would think that would be something that would be directly linked to the evaluation piece that we were going to be looking at sometime in June. So I would hope that we could find a Saturday that would correlate sometime before the evaluation of the superintendent, because I'd like to get some type of preface as to what types of things he has in mind as far as the plan for the district, so we can then look at what types of things we have accomplished and look at the evaluation.